Quite recently, perhaps the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life happened to me. It turned my world upside down. It made me believe in everything that can be believed. In God, in the devil, and even in fucking Santa Claus. This phenomenon can't be explained from the point of sanity. I'll try to recall and tell you everything. I'll publish this story on the internet, or I don't know, on some forums. Let people read and understand that in the world it might happen something that even a crazy man couldn't think of. I'm gonna start from the very beginning, trying not to miss any details. My name is Yaroslav. I'm already 34. I'll be 35 soon. I've been working in the field of freight transportation for about 10 years. To make sure you understand, I'm a truck driver. I drive all over our immense homeland. Over these years, a lot has happened on the road. I've experienced a lot, but I've never seen anything like what happened that night. As I've told, different things have happened to me before. I've seen all sorts of things while being sleepy on the road. I've seen trees crossing the road, people instead of road signs. In general, it's an extremely interesting and exciting job, although sometimes it's dangerous. Well, not the point. That day, early in the morning, I remember driving to work. I overslept, didn't drink a cup of coffee, didn't tidy myself up, and therefore, that's what caused my bad mood. That's how I felt. While driving to work, I felt fuming and mad as hell. I had to go from Saratov to Petropavlovsk. Well, the whole day behind the wheel. Not to mention a few hours of rest, but it was in my interest to drive quickly and forget about everything and go on the weekend soon. I arrived at that place, lit a cigarette. Work was already in full swing. Then I see my boss is already rushing.
Hello, Vlad. Did you sleep well?
He smiled and patted me on the shoulder. Well, not that well, Victor Palich.
All right, don't worry. You'll sleep in the afterlife.
He laughed. And you're in a pretty good mood today.
Am I?
Of course, you're always in a good mood. I thought to myself, you're making a killing, man. Of course you must be in a good mood. Well, but we, blue collars, aren't offended either. The salary is always on time, without any delays, plus all sorts of extra bonuses and so on. He's a good man. Strict but fair.
Vlad, look, they're already waiting for you in an hour at the metal pipe factory, where the guys have already prepared everything. They only need you in the truck. So let's have a coffee, tea, whatever, and you must set out there.
Got you, Victor Palich. I still had about 10 minutes for morning coffee. If I don't drink a cup of coffee in the morning, then the whole day sucks. Well, I had some breakfast at work, since I didn't manage to have it at home. My mood got better and I got in the truck. Warmed up, turned on the radio and hit the road. After half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, I drove up to the metal pipe factory. They were already waiting for me there. They filled in the waybills as expected and asked me to take a little walk while they were loading the truck. Having left the trailer, I drove off to a quiet spot and took a nap. I had quite a weird dream. There was a forest, a road, some strange people in that forest. They were wandering around the forest. That's all I remembered about that dream. I woke up because someone was knocking on the window, so I opened it and looked at that laborer with my sleepy eyes.
Come on, man, take it. You've already loaded everything.
And he gives me a waybill, a piece of paper with a phone number, and the exact address of the point B. Having got completely awake, I started the truck, drove to the loading place, hooked a trailer to the truck and set off. But I didn't take any food along. I had a couple of sweets in my pocket and just a bottle of water. Well, not a big deal. I'll stop by some shop and we'll buy something to chew on. Well, I left the city. It was 9 a.m. and the road was already full. So I was driving, listening to the radio, even singing along if I heard some familiar words. I dropped by a roadside shop, bought a couple of patties, water, sausages, instant noodles. Well, that's enough, I thought. It was quite a long and boring way. That's why I wanted to sleep a lot. I was driving all day. It was the first time I had been going this way, so I didn't take my eyes off the navigator. God forbid not to get lost somewhere here. I stopped a few times to smoke, to have some snacks. Well, I was driving the whole day. It was getting dark outside. There were fewer and fewer cars on the road. Silence. Only the hum of the engine. The barely perceptible breeze and the voice of the host on the radio were getting into my ears, somehow calming and relaxing me. I was overwhelmed by some strange feeling of serenity. This often happens to me, but this time it was somehow special. So my nearest goal was to find a gas station. I needed to fill up the truck, and I'll probably stay there overnight. Half the way has already been passed. I had to arrive in Petropavlovsk in the evening the next day. I was driving for an hour, then another hour, but there was still no gas station, and my eyes were already sticking together. I already turned off the radio so that nothing would lull me. Well, in the end, I don't know how it happened, but I fell asleep right at the wheel. As you might have already guessed, I slept not for long. I woke up from a terrible shaking and hitting my head on the steering wheel and then on the instrument panel. I opened my eyes, couldn't understand anything, looked around like a frightened kitten. It was dark outside. The truck was shaking and it was about to turn over. Thank God, I fastened a seatbelt before. Otherwise, I would be bouncing around inside the truck. Then suddenly the shaking stopped and the car stopped as well. It stank of something burning. It didn't take a long time to understand where the smell was coming from. The smoke was coming right from the radiator grill.
God damn it!
I screamed, hitting the steering wheel with all my might. There was impenetrable darkness around me. You could only hear a hiss from under the hood, like foliage swaying in the wind and crickets that were probably millions of them settled in the bushes. I opened the door and got out. So, in short, I drove off the road into some unknown woods. There were trees around, not a single light pole anywhere. I was driving along the area that wasn't illuminated at all. I turned back. Darkness. I couldn't see the road. I didn't find the trailer. It might have unhooked while I was getting through the trees, being sleepy. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, I agreed with myself. Having walked a little back, I saw the trailer that was lying upside down. It was about 30 to 40 meters away from the truck. Thank God I survived. I opened the door and went inside. I looked around. Well, the truck wasn't in its best condition. One rear wheel was missing. The truck inside was all crumpled, and there was some smoke under the hood. All right, here we are. I walked around and looked again. In impenetrable darkness, a dense thicket of forest surrounded me on all sides. I didn't understand from which side I drove here. Well, except I could navigate by the unhooked trailer, lying upside down. I took out the phone from my pocket. Of course, there was no connection. God damn it, bitch! And what was I supposed to do? To get to the road and try to hitch a ride? Well, I'll do it this way, I thought to myself, and started to get through the thicket of the forest. And here, one very strange thing happened. Well, I'm going. I already see this road. Well, 50 meters left. But I just can't get out of the forest. As if I'm walking on the spot. Damn it! I stopped, thinking, what the fuck? I'm not walking on the spot. I'm moving as usual, but I still can't get out of here. At that moment, I was already about to start trembling. I decided to run fast. My head hurt badly, but I didn't pay any attention to it. Rushed to the side of the road, anyway. So I'm running. I've run about 30 meters, but there's still the same distance left. What the hell? Am I really hallucinating? Well, I decided not to go straight, but to go around the trailer. Nope, it doesn't work out. So I stopped, leaning on a tree. I was trembling as if I'd spent a couple of hours in the fridge. I feel thirsty. My head is splitting. And then I hear some sound. It sounds like someone is driving along the road, like a rumble approaching. I rushed to run towards the road again, but no sooner had the car rushed at a breakneck speed and the hum gradually was fading away until it completely disappeared. But that's not everything that I managed to see. When the car was passing, not far from me, between the trees, I saw a man. He was also standing and staring at the car rushing past us. "Hey!" I shouted. "Hi! What are you doing here, man?" He was standing and paying no attention at all. Well, I thought, maybe he can't hear me. I should come closer. Although I was screaming quite loudly, even the dead would probably have heard it. So I walk up to him. "Hey, don't you hear me?" I'm standing about 3 meters away from him and he doesn't move at all, like a fucking statue. "Are you okay?" Still trying to talk to him. When I get closer, I put my hand on his shoulder and try to turn him to me. And then he turns around himself. Oh my God. I thought my heart would just fall to the ground. Hell knows what it was. Looks like a human, but it isn't. cold as ice, eyes without pupils at all, just some white substance in the eye sockets. As he opens his mouth, there's complete blackness, neither teeth nor tongue, just nothing. As soon as the mouth opened, the face instantly turned pale. Or it was pale. I don't remember. Black veins appeared on it. He frowned. I was stepping back, still could not figure out what was going on, but this creature kept standing. I walked to the back of my truck, turned around and got frozen. I was instantly seized by a vicious and disgusting fear. My legs were turning to jelly, and I fell to the ground. Then there were dozens of these creatures near the truck. People, ghosts, I don't know. They were standing and looking at me like a piece of meat. Their faces were expressing no emotions at all. They were just looking at me. I quietly got to my feet, making no sound at all. I tried to open the door and climb inside of the truck. I haven't seen another solution. I will not be able to run in any way, because I've already tried to reach the road and it wasn't successful. I could only climb into the truck and hope for a miracle. Hands were shaking. I hardly found the door handle in the dark. And as soon as I opened it, the door handle, there was some weird noise, and these fucking forest dwellers seemed to wake up. They opened their mouths again, just like that one I had already met with, and all as one rushed to the truck. Jesus, you should have seen how they were running to me. Someone was jumping on all fours, pushing off the trees. Someone was running just like a human. Someone was falling over, getting up, and again kept moving to me. That's a horrifying scene. I got goosebumps all over my body. I quickly opened the truck door, jumped in and locked all the doors. The creatures stuck around the truck like flies. They were staring at me through the windows, opened their mouths and tried to break the windows with their little hands. I hid in the corner near the sleeper cab, and then for some reason the knocks on the windows instantly stopped. I just locked it. My whole body was shaking. My heart was beating like a jackhammer. God damn me. I stuck my head out to see if they've left or haven't. Yeah, of course. I stuck my head out from behind the curtains, and one of them was already inside the truck. Well, the door was open. How it happened, I just couldn't believe how they silently opened the locked door of the truck. While they were climbing inside, I jumped out through the second door. This time I was very close to them. I jumped out of the car and ran with all my might to an unknown direction. So I was running, getting through the branches, bushes, and trees. Then I suddenly felt that my leg had fallen into some kind of hole. I fell to the ground, barely holding back a cry. I didn't know whether I sprained my leg or broke it at all, but the pain instantly spread throughout my body, and only in a couple of minutes, opening my eyes, I realized that I was in some strange place. I looked around and realized that it was some kind of ancient cemetery. Well, it was extremely old. Everything was just overgrown, rusty, and rotten. What can I say? It was extremely difficult to move on. My leg was aching a lot. It got swollen and covered with a brown-blue color. Then I barely got to my feet. Then I turned around and saw them standing again. Some were behind a tree. Some were standing on a small hill. They were the same. I recognized at least two of them. I got up and tried to run again, but having made a step, I immediately collapsed to the ground. Then I don't remember what happened next. The last thing I saw was the terrible faces of these creatures hanging over me. I woke up as if I had a strong hangover. My head was splitting. My leg hurt even more than it hurt before. Then I found out that I was in the box. I turned my head and my heart started beating like crazy again. I was lying in a wooden coffin. Thank God I wasn't buried in it. And the coffin was old and rotten. I realized this because of the light that splashed through the cracks between the wood. I hit them with my elbow a few times and managed to crash it. Putting tremendous efforts through the pain, I managed to get out of the grave. It was already light outside. The birds were singing. Some slight breeze was blowing. As it turned out, I ran away, not far from the broken truck, maybe 10 meters away. But I was running at night for a long time. It seemed to me like I ran 300 meters, if not more. Then I managed to get to the road and hitch a ride. I returned to the city, told everything to my boss, but he wasn't surprised at all. It turned out that I wasn't the first one who drove into that mysterious place. Fortunately, everything worked out. I got my salary. The whole team went to that place. The truck was taken out of the forest, the trailer too. Its contents were loaded onto another truck and the cargo reached its destination. My boss sent me home to sleep it off. But I can't fall asleep. I can't get rid of the horror that I experienced last night.